Hello guys, today I'm gonna be making another build video. I haven't made a video with my voice in a long time. It's probably been like a year ago, but I'm gonna just do a little update on that since the first video that I made. There's a lot of things into building, so I would just recommend you to be engineer first thing. You know, engineers like best, like grenade bandolier, just in case your ant gets like harmed. But we're gonna first start by what you should do when you're first getting into the building. So you want to go to the terminal and get an ant or the wasp. I prefer ant because it's just easier. And then you start out with 8,000. 8,000 is like the main one. You have to passively upgrade it. So we'll just look at the little thing. You just go insert, and then you just complete these two. I think it gets a little expensive, but you should be fine. And these two are pretty much essential. It helps out a lot. Utility slot. Me personally, I think a lot of these are really good for an ant. But if you want to be base building, I would say turbo booster would be good because there's different types of bases out there, and it depends on what you're trying to build. So we're just gonna say that turbo booster is probably the best one if you're trying to go up high. But if you're just trying to do something a little casual, I would say just the transport cloak. Those are one of the good ones. Defensive slot, vehicle stealth is really good. It makes sure you're not on the map that often. So the rest is, I guess, is okay. But a lot of vehicles use their maps a lot more than just using their ears. So I have a better experience with vehicle stealth. I mean, any of these is good. So now the performance slot, on the other hand, you can do both the rival combat chassis. Since if you're gonna have the turbo boost, I think you can do the rival combat chassis so you can move around a lot. But racer high speed chassis is also really good as well. They're both really good for an ant. It just depends on where you're building it, you know. But both of them are really good. So this is ant stuff. Defensive wise, I mean bulldog or cobalt is pretty good. And yeah, that's about it. For the ant. Now, having those upgrades, you can see the accordion much easier, and making sure you don't do weird stuff. T's pretty good, and having recursion, you're able to go see everything much better. Looks like they're doing something, but I would say for beginners though, we start making a router base. Router bases are really easy, kind of cheap, and they don't use that much. So that's what we're going to be doing today. My very first video, we did a router base. But router bases are so good. You get a lot of certs, especially in like biolab or point hold bases. That's all over Indar. It's like one of the best like spawn points to have. That's why on my engineer, there are two barriers, two hardlight barriers. Those are the main. That's the main thing that engineers have. You can have a canopy or the ordnance, the damage ordnance. I have that in mind, but yeah, the ordnance dampener. One of these two are good. If you're placing a router on the ceiling, then the canopy would work much better. But it's like I said, it's kind of situational. Where am I going? Okay. But yeah, engineer, you can put down a lot of things, and I think it's like a really good, thing to have as engineer. Now, once we start building, I'm going to go over a lot of the building stuff. I know that building is a little bit expensive. Oh, why are you in my... Okay. So, I would say you just go look around the area. You have to know the map really well to know where to build, but if you're making a router base, just find a flat surface. It's so much easier. You're not going to do anything more tactical than what you're doing right now. So, there is little tactics with Cordium, if this guy can move out of the way. What you can do if you're not in a red zone, you see all that red nonsense, that means you can't really build over there. It looks like some guy already built a router base over there. That means you can't really build over there, but if you're not in a red zone, you could deploy and then grab something out of there and it'll take up accordion and you can keep mining, which is kind of cool, you know, like you're able to pick up some more cordium as you go. Like you getting the silo, you keep that 2k cordium that you just spent on for that silo. So I think that's like the pretty good way to, you know, do things. So we're gonna build right here. I know it's a little bit outside the red zone, but it's just a little model. So we're gonna get that, and we're gonna place it. These balls help you a lot where to go. So like right here, once all the balls come from the middle, then you can place it down. There's some more restricted like hard ones to place down depending on where you build it at. So we're gonna place it right here. And then, of course, we need our spawn tube. So this is our spawn tube. I'll make more of an advanced video as well, but we're just going over the basics. We have a whole bunch of structures in here, but we're gonna go and just show you the stuff for base building. So you want this and the spawn tube. Those are two of the most essential things because you won't be able to do much. Alarm module would be helpful for alarm base because those cordium bomb people are so annoying. And alarm module would also be helpful, but I'm not gonna place down most of the modules. That'll be for later. Let's see here. We're gonna go to the routing spire. This is where you can get routers. And it takes forever for them to load because the game likes that. And yeah, we can get some decoration. This costs daybreak. You don't require to have that. And then last and not least, we need the light air terminal or the vehicle terminal. Okay, see. This is one of the harder things to place because there's not a lot. Flat surfaces are kind of hard to have, but you know, those are the main things. Watch out for infiltrators though, because they can hack the terminals that you have out here, like the main vehicle terminals that you have. They can't, and I would highly recommend you not to put down any bunkers. Bunkers are really bad and they take up a lot of like space. I never place down bunkers. You never really want to do that. They're just not useful to use. And having recursion will help out like aim, where to mine if you're in third person mode for driving an ant. Wasp, I think they have pre-built stuff for you, so when you get the prototype, you just need to go on the second person, so you just need to go on number 2 slot. You just click 2 and then you get to mine, just making sure that you have landed. And that's pretty much it for like placing down for a router base. I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth about what you can do, and I would say for router bases that not going near a lot of the battles, like Harvar, far away from that and closer to the Warp gate is probably the best way to make a router base. There's a lot of like good spots. Like I would say like right up over here. This is a really good spot. But there's plenty of spots you can make bases. But none of them are like needed. I would say getting a pain spire right next to your air terminal would help like keep the infiltrators away. I think that's like one of the good things to have a paint spire around. I like doing that in my main buildings, but it's you can do you can spin your search on whatever you want. There is some like last things you should get though, like the structures. You should not get most of the structures, exception to the vehicle gate or the Sunday garage. But the rest of the structures aren't really necessary for a build. But vehicle gate and Sunday garage are kind of really good, and I'll explain why. But first, we need to talk about modules. So there's so many modules in the game. We got Skywall, Structure Shield, Repair Module, Turret AI Module, Recon. Okay, the Recon Module and Alarm Module. And I mean, I feel like it's kind of obvious on what they kind of do, but we're just gonna go over them. So the Skywall is probably a really useful module, and I would recommend you to get that. It keeps away from vehicles to get in from up high, and there's certain spots you can use it to make it hard to get into your base, making your base a little bit overpowered, but there are things you can do to make the Skywall really useful. In one of my videos that I made for the orbital strikes, you see me coming out of one of the things, and if you look around, you can see that it's really hard to get in because the only place you could get in is like from that vehicle gate. But Skywalls are really, really, really good for like deep hole stuff. Bastions can easily destroy them. Orbital strikes can help, and the Skywall can protect a lot of your modules. And of course, the Skywall will go down, but it makes sure that most of your building structures don't get destroyed, and anything under it is considered I guess is considered inside as well. So not a lot of your stuff isn't like gonna get destroyed from an orbital strike. Bastions can easily get rid of them. I have plenty of times where Bastions just like come over and like, oh hey, I'm gonna destroy your base now, and then boom, it's destroyed. There's not really any defense behind Bastions. It's just kind of hard to deal with, so you got bad luck if you get a Bastion. But I guess the only one that Skywalls can't really protect unless you have to personally go is glaives. But it's rare to see those. You mostly can kind of see them if you're near the enemy faction. But if you're making a router base, you probably won't have these issues. But we're going to go to the next one. Structure Shield Module. Is not really useful, and I'll explain why that is when you can see what it is. But allows chlorine to be used to create a module that, when power applies, one-way shield to structures opening to help protect defenders inside. So I don't think the description that they give you is enough information, and it's so true. But what a structure shield module will do, depending on what structures you have, such as the I guess bunker or pillbox or infantry tower, the windows that they have in there is a one-way, so you can shoot through that and kill people, and it's a little overpowered, but it makes it fair, and I think they shouldn't change that. When you hold E on the thing, it uses a massive little cornium onto the walls, and the walls are really hard to get. It makes them invulnerable for like 15 seconds. So if you're getting pounded in the base, you know, you just hold E on that and boom. Tanks and stuff can't do anything about it. And I personally think that's not enough use for that. And when you have like 15 tanks coming over, your base is screwed. And even if you click E on that, you know. But you probably want to have these modules not for that ability, okay? You want to use it for like this Sunday garage, or help out with the walls, sure, whatever. I don't know what vehicle gates do about it. I mean, it highlights green, but the walls don't. I don't know if that's a bug or anything, but they have something to do with it. But I hope it just... I just really wish if a structure shield module just increases the health of the wall and not like give it a boost. Because then it makes the wall more defended, you know. I think there's a lot of potential in this module, but it's not really used that well. We're going to go to repair module. Repair module, you're able to, you know, repair things. It has that radius. Repair module is pretty good for like the turrets that you have and overall like repairing on walls and all that. So it's an all-around good module. I mean, it's a little bit obvious. It does take a lot of cordium though. It does take a lot of cordium. Turret AI module. I feel like we need more of these because it's hard to cover all the defenses and the tactical flail and glaive. So it's kind of it's a good module. It makes it where an AI is controlling the thing without a person being in there, and it helps defend your base when you're not there. The bots though are not really good, and they can actually harm your base. So I've seen people go ahead and use the vehicle turret, spear anti-vehicle turret, and then they hide behind that little vehicle gate wall, and then of course they're gonna see the player, but they can't hit them because they're behind a wall. So and then it just like your wall just goes down, and I'm like, really, Planetside? Thank you. You destroyed my wall. So yeah, I really hate the turrets, but it's really essential. You need to just making sure that your turrets isn't going to be abused like that. But Terra AI module is probably one of another essentials. A recently new module that came out, the Recon module. It's just like the Recon for Infiltrator. That's about it. It helps get rid of the Infiltrator issue since that was a complaint. But it's not really a needed module to have. It used to be a different module about Sundays. Now it's not, so you don't need to worry about that module. I think the other module was kind of bad. So, and then the alarm module, when you're gone, and if something's happening at your base, it just alerts you. It makes that weird alert noise. And yeah, that's about it. Structures, bunkers never used. The reason why you never use, sure, it takes a lot of space, but infiltrators can hack the turret, and not the turret, the module that's in there, where you can resupply, and they can just spam portium bombs all over your base. So no go for bunkers. They take too much space and it's not worth. Vehicle gate, you're just able to pass through it. The gate, it's very simple, you know. I think it's one of the easiest walls to place down, and it's really essential. It's like essentially just another wall. But GSTs can go through it though. That's the one exception. But GSTs cannot go through They can go through skywalls, but they still get hurt from it. So if a harasser just flies in the air and goes through the skywall, they're practically destroyed. So you don't need to worry about skywalls that much. GSTs can also go through the Sunday garage if you have that module over it, and that helps defend a lot of your modules. It's not just for Sundays. You don't need Sundays in there. It's not even used for Sundays. It's mostly used for modules, which I think is funny. But infiltrator tower, infantry tower. It's just a very big tower. The shield module also allows you to shoot through the little windows, and it's a one way as well. That's essentially it. There's a bottom thing that you can put modules in if you want, but you have to put them like really well to do that. Vehicle ramp. So vehicle ramp is underestimated because there's a lot of like good things about the vehicle ramp, but not really a lot. It's not high enough, and that's my only complaint. The ramp doesn't go up high enough. It's just a little slope. It doesn't really, go really high. And that's my only complaint. But what you can do with the vehicle ramp as you can use it as a wall depending on what base you're making and what area, but they're not really used for that. You can just make it a one-way situation where vehicles can't get in, but you can get out with a vehicle. So I guess it's really good if you have that vehicle module. But that's about it. There's certain other situations you can use it, but that's about it. And a pillbox, last but not least, is just an infantry tower, but smaller. That's about it. You can hide your spawn tube or whatnot in there, and it's all good. Defensive. So we got the anti-personnel, anti-vehicle, and anti-air turrets. They do what they say they do. There's two different types of anti-vehicle. I don't know why that is. I prefer if this was like on the anti-personal, for depending on what base you're building, like what design. I'm gonna talk about designs later in another video. I think that's really important to talk over, but we got anti-personal tower kills infantry, anti-vehicle tower kills vehicles. It's not really great, but it kills vehicles. This is the small version of it. Do not buy this until you have enough. So it's just like the last thing you should buy. It's not really that useful. And then anti-air. Anti-air is actually pretty good, surprisingly. We got the rampart wall, and then the glowy one. Those are good walls. You can use these, and I would say you can use them if you have a structure modules, because I have those little window things, and you can make it a one-way. It's just a pretty good one. It's also quite useful for those little indents that they have in there. Solid wall. It's just a solid wall. Blast wall is really good for those small areas, and you can like have like terrain to block off those little things that infantry can walk into. But I would say it's like a little mini wall that you can have. I think is pretty good. Now tactically, I would say orbital strike uplink is risky to use. It takes a lot of cordium, like a lot, and the price of cordium, but there's a lot of like things that I use for it, and I mainly am still trying to rax the construction part of it, and it takes forever, but I think they should dial down a little bit on the construction directive. But people can see your base on the map from either factions once you place this uplink down, and you have a radius in it, and you can do it inside that radius, and you can make a call an orbital strike, and that's about it. And it's really hard to defeat the orbital strike, and it's risky to use, but you can do whatever. The routing spire just spawns routers for you. And in the pain spire, it makes a little radius where you can harm the little personnel that's in your base. It's really good to help spot infiltrators as well. If an infiltrator walks in there, ooh, boom, they're dead. Well, they're not dead, but you can shoot them down because you found them. But The flail is really underestimated. It's a really good thing. I don't think they should change it. I think it's really good. But it's not really quite useful when armor is around your base, because now you can't use it to defend your base, because they have like a radius where you can't use it and a radius you can use it, and they don't really tell you what that radius is. I mean, it tells you, oh yeah, it's 600 meters, you can use it, and I'm like, okay, thank you. And I'm like, but you can't use it in 40 meters. So it's just like whatever. It's really good for farming infantry. There was a bug previously where you can fly up really high and it forgets that you're in that little territory and you can use it and it'll rain down on the base. But they patched that, I'm pretty sure. But you can use it. It's a really good thing. If you find people outside, you can use it and boom, they're destroyed. I use an orbital strike. If you found my very first orbital strike video, I love that video. I was just amazed on how many kills I got from that. So I do a lot of orbital strikes and it's rare to find an 11 kill streak. So, glaive. Those prevent skywalls. I think you can also use it on infantry, and they get rid of their shield. And that's about it. It's just like, that infiltrators have those little grenades, just like that, but in mass scale. But it's like a little spread out shotgun though. It's not like exactly there. I wish it was more exact, but it's an okay thing. It's just base defending. It's like base fighting each other. It's really good. You don't need to buy this, because you rarely see that, but you can do whatever if you're going to go into base building. And I'll talk about these in more an advanced way to use them. But yeah, that's a little thing about tactical. And light air terminal, infiltrators can hack these, like I said previously. Vehicle ammo dispenser, you can place this down. It's not necessarily for you to buy, though. You can buy it or whatnot, but it's not necessary. You can do whatever with these. You can spawn vehicles. Those are really hard to place down. You need a flat surface for these, or you won't be able to place these down at all in certain areas. So making sure you're not on a slant. And then you got your little faction banner, you can place that down. I would say the faction banner is really good for one reason. If you don't have a skywall down, you can put this up really high, and then sometimes air end up getting caught in it. But it's really rare because people are really good with air nowadays. So you barely see that. But it's really funny when they do get caught. I haven't had that happen to me, but a friend of mine told me about it. And I was like, oh, that's so funny. You should have recorded that. And then you got the field tool. I don't use the field tool that much unless I'm getting rid of it. So never really use this to repair anything, because you can accidentally delete one of your items, or one of your things that are already out there, and it's just annoying to put back. So don't be using this. Just be an engineer and repair it with your ordinary engineer. You get a lot more experience from it, and it's much faster than this one. So just only use this for deleting, and just to delete, you just right click. I think it's left click. I don't remember. I think it's left click. Yeah, it says hold down fire, and then aim is it's left click. So those are the main essential ones that you can use. There was, if it does come out, that there was a little thing if you're near one of those little things in Esamir where it shoots out that energy stuff, that you can place one of those down and it mines something for you. I don't remember. It was for missions. If that ever occurs again, that is another thing, another building thing, and people probably would do. And mission wise, there's a lot of building missions in there. Cordium Run is one of them. And and mining for Elysium, you can make a base over one of these and people will be really happy with you because then they can just spawn in your base and boom, they can just be there. And those are about it. Mineral management is also a new one that came out. So do this mission is really good. I'm gonna play some Planetside 2 today, and you know do these missions. Missions are really good for XP and all that. And I'm gonna do one more thing. We're gonna talk about the strategic construction directives. If you're really into the grind, you could go ahead and start working on this. Directive wise, the bottom three you're never going to get to. It's just never going to happen. Never, ever. Flail kills might happen if you're really into that. Or orbital strike kills, but those take forever. This also takes forever, and I don't know how long it takes for this to happen, but I got 87 and I've been building a lot, okay, and it takes a lot of bases to go this far, so base directive is not worth it. And I bet you $100 none of these people even have this. No one really has this. This is like hard to get. Building is not really fun to get, but oh yeah, and you need to complete these two directives before you can get the solid wall. That's a good point to bring out. But you would never ever complete this directive unless you have severe dedication to it. And I'm trying to complete this directive, and I'm not going far. And orbital strikes are so easy to, you know, not die to. So, I guess other than that, there's the vehicle one, ant vehicle, and you do get a lot of search from these. I'm pretty sure I probably already raxed this so far out. I've been building so many bases. It takes forever for an ant because ants are considered one of the most weakest vehicles out there. Road kills, you can do the being invisible thing, and I think you can get a lot of road kills on those. You can attempt that. I did a couple of those, and that's why I got 58 of them. But, you know, it's all good. Other than that, there's some event over at the Christmas Cheer event. There is the Operation Snowfort. You should probably complete this. I'm going to complete this at the end of, like, probably before December or January 9th. It's like January 4th, I'm pretty sure. So I'm gonna complete this really quickly. It shouldn't be that hard. Frigid, there's a bug. If you're watching this video right now, there is a bug where the frigid defense also applies with the hard light barriers. And it's funny because they're classified as almost the same thing. So just abuse that as much as you can and do not tell Rel this, okay? Because I hate the snowmans. They don't work as well. So anyway, that's about it. There's a little hint. You know, and then ants. Ants are not fun to use, but you can do whatever with ants. But anyways, we'll see you later. And yeah, have a good time building a lot of router bases. I'll do some more router tacticality on base designs in a future video. I'm going to do a lot of building videos since there's not a lot out there. But please subscribe and like if you want to see more of these building videos. I'll be considered the building guy of Planetside 2 from now on, okay? Anyway, audio.